you have to figure out how you're participating in your own suffering.
So for part four, I just going to talk about some of the other cognitive distortions that I use. I'll put a picture of like a poster of like common cognitive distortions. They're essentially lies we tell ourselves. Um, and so kind of for me, it's twofold. They're lies and they became my stories. Like they were stories I told myself. Um, and those stories and these cognitive distortions I used, and even like in the first one where like how I talked about myself being unkind, they really do shape the world you live in. And when people say, oh, you create the world you live in, that is how we create the world we live in, is the stories we tell ourselves, the cognitive distortions we allow ourselves to believe, and then even just like how we talk to ourselves. So um, those, they all kind of for me merge into like um, one big kind of monster, right? That then becomes how you see the world around you. So some of the cognitive distortions that I really struggled with are like should thinking. Um, this is a big one. Like you should be. Anytime would tell, anytime I hear people should be doing this, this is what we should be doing. Um, anytime someone tells you you should, is a huge red flag for me. There's no such thing as anything everybody should be doing. That doesn't exist. Um, and so that's always a red flag and tells me like run the other way. Negative focus is just choosing to see everything in a negative light, refusing to see any of the positives. Kind of goes with black and white thinking for me. But like something like I tell my son, like when we like play games and learning how to be a good sport, is he still gets really mad when he loses. And so I will say things to him like, it's really sucks we lost, but I'm really glad we got to play together. Like I had a lot of fun playing the game with you, even though it sucks you lost. Um, and so it's just saying like that both of those things can be true. And by only being mad you lost, you miss out on all the other things that are also true, which was like, hey, we got to spend some quality time together. Like playing games is fun. Um, hanging out, with each other, or the snacks we got were really fun too and delicious, and we laughed a lot. I don't know. It's a little Pollyanna thinking, but it's not. It's finding the other truths in the situation to provide balance in how we talk about and think about whatever happened. And and then another one I did a lot was fortune telling, um, and just being like sure how this is going to turn out. Some of that kind of goes almost with like should thinking, where you just believe. For me, it was always like there's a right or wrong way to do things. If I do something the wrong way, it's all gonna go to hell. Or if I do it this, and this, it's all gonna be amazing. Um, and then struggling when that's not reality. You know, there's good and bad with all things, and um, and we can choose what's the story we tell ourselves. We can choose how we want to look at those things, and um, and having a little more gray, having a little more balance, having some more honesty. This is really where it is. Like cognitive distortions are all lies we tell ourselves. So having honesty in the situation. So another way that where I catch cognitive distortions, or that when I'm using cognitive distortions, it's kind of a red flag for me. And It's that big one of like all or nothing thinking. Um, when I start falling into cognitive distortions, it tells me I'm starting to go into fight or flight. It tells me my nervous system is reacting and I am um, grouping and kind of jumping to conclusions as a way to kind of protect myself. So, one of the ways that I can catch myself um, in these moments where I know I'm starting to get in fight or flight, and you'll see these on my page. Like this is still stuff I'm working on, um, but I can paint with a really broad brush. I will have moments where I'm like, I hate everybody. Everybody. The second I start going, I hate everybody, I know I'm getting into fight or flight. Like my nervous system is really elevated. And I need to like, it's like one of my red flags when I start to feel like that. Um, so it's just like for me, it became how do I identify when I'm using these? It kind of tells me where I'm at emotionally, and it has brought a lot more balance and peace into my life and a lot more joy where um where I can choose to focus on the good things, um where I can set aside the bad, where I don't always have to have the bad be the main focus in every moment of my life. Um, that's been a really important tool for me in this world we're living in because there's not a lot of good right now. Um, but I can find good and joy in these horrible moments. And because I know that they still exist, it gives me hope, right? That there's enough of us that aren't going to let the world like continue to exist this way. Um, and sorry, I know I just did like a bit of an ADHD tangent there, but I think one of the main ways I check if I'm using a cognitive distortion is sometimes I will tell myself a story and I will just ask myself, is that true? Is that true? Sometimes it's like, everybody hates me. I just know it. Is that, and I go, is that true? No. I mean, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. There's a lot of people who don't like me. There's a lot of people who I am the villain in their story. I mean, or I am the villain. And I still have people that love me.